Hey guys, this is Mark Palmer from Crossroads Christian Church. I'm up in the loft. I'm missing the people up here. I miss seeing you guys around. I'm looking forward to the day when we can all be together again. I have some thoughts I want to share with you today from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This is a scripture I'm familiar with. Partly because of the Bible, but actually primarily and embarrassingly primarily because over the past 20 years, about this time of year, I'm usually gathering up gifts to be given to our graduating seniors. And on almost everything that is Christian, there's embedded in it, imprinted on it, this scripture. It's a great scripture of promise during a normal time of transition for those who are graduating. And an encouragement to say, look, no matter what's in the future, no matter what difficulties you'll face, God has got his plan for you, and it's all about success and prosperity and not anything that's going to be harmful for you. But 2020 is proving to be a more difficult year of transition for our graduating seniors. It's difficult for everyone, and amongst all the canceled events and social separation and business closures and job loss, there is also a difficulty for our seniors because their final year of high school has been cut short. They will not be able to enjoy their final pep rallies or their honor society pinnings or award ceremonies. They will not be able to enjoy their final season of sports. They will not be able to enjoy their senior prom. And in some cases, they may not even be able to graduate the way that we normally see graduation. It's a very difficult situation, for sure. And suddenly, as we look at this verse from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, it can almost seem a little bit hollow. Let me show it to you one more time. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So the question comes up. If God really does want the best for us and he has plans for the best for us, why is he doing this to us? And some will say he's not doing it to us, he's just letting it happen. So then that raises the next question. If God is not doing this to us, then why isn't he stopping it? And then the next question, which is a natural question, if God isn't stopping it, is he even there? Did you know that the people of Israel had this same question? Because before Jeremiah gave this wonderful, glorious promise that God has all these great plans for us, God directed Jeremiah to tell the people that trouble is coming. He told Jeremiah that this guy named Nebuchadnezzar was going to come and conquer their land and take them captive and make them slaves for his people. Soon after these words were spoken, Nebuchadnezzar came and conquered them, took them captivity, and they became slaves. And I think it's interesting, and I think it's something we need to pay attention to, because this verse of promise from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, is also accompanied by trials. And I think it's important that we see that in trials, we can learn several things. Number one, trials help us to realize that we are smaller than we think. You know, we usually go about our day thinking nothing about anybody else except ourselves. We want the best for ourselves, maybe even our family, but that's really about ourselves as well. We serve ourselves through our job and through, accomplishments that we do. We kind of see ourselves as the center of the universe, even though we know that's not true. But this little bitty virus, this little bitty thing that started completely on the other side of the world in less than 3 or 4 months has just wrecked our world. Never again should we think of ourselves as that powerful or even in control of it all. We have learned that we're very vulnerable, that we need to take this as a gentle reminder that we are not the superpower in the universe. We are just people living on the planet that God has given us. 1 Peter 5:6 says, "Humble yourselves therefore under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time." We need to put our trust in him. It's not about us, it's about him. We need to put our trust in him, and he will take care of our needs. Trials help us also to appreciate that God is bigger than we will ever know. When God sent the Israelites into captivity, when he condemned them to slavery for 70 years, he looked 70 years into the future at the very same time, and he saw what he was going to do after that. And he prepared for that moment. God is able to see past our current problems into the future of what's going to happen. He sees what's going to happen. He's in control of it all. And even if this pandemic takes 70 days to work through, it's difficult for us to see past it. It's difficult for us to think about what is life going to be like. At what point can I finally hug my friends again? At what point can I give a high five and not think about what if? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. And it's hard for us to see past that. But God is in control of all of it, and he can see past all of it. And we just need to trust in him. In Colossians chapter 1, verse 16, it says, "For by him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things were created by him and for him, and he is before all things, and in him all things hold together." This seems like it's out of control. It seems like it's never going to end, and it's difficult. But God is in control. His hand is in it. He knows what's going on, and he will help us in his time. We just need to put our faith in him. Trials should also teach us that God is the creator of comfort, and yet he's concerned about our condition. I say he's the creator of comfort because he made everything. He made the colors, he made the sounds, he made the tastes, he made the textures, he made everything. He made it so that we could enjoy it. He made the stuff, and he made our bodies with receptors to enjoy the stuff. He wants us to be comfortable in this world that he made for us. And yet that's not his primary concern. His primary concern is our condition, our heart. He hopes that we are healthy and good and in a right relationship with him. In 1998, I broke my ACL and I had to have surgery on it. And what followed after that for about 9 months was physical therapy. And anybody who's had a knee replacement or a shoulder surgery knows that a physical therapist is, number one, your best friend, and number two, your complete enemy. He or she will direct you to do things that you didn't want to do. They will push you to do things that hurt. They will force you to perform in ways that are making your body painful. And it hurts. It's crazy how much it hurts. And yet they know that if they don't make these hurtful things happen, if they don't push you past the hurt, then you might have a worse condition in the long run. And so when these trials come, like what we're dealing with today, we need to realize that God may not be trying to condemn the planet for its sin, but this is a trial. And we need to learn that through these trials, we can grow from this. We need to learn to depend on him more than ourselves. We need to depend on his salvation and his grace and mercy more than our own wisdom. We need to obey his word rather than our own philosophy. And and James 1:26 says this, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face many trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance, and perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." And the fourth thing that we need to realize is that trials will provide for us an opportunity to remember that God is always there, even when we don't care. Most of the time, we go through life and we want God to be there. We want him to protect us and provide for us and make us prosperous and give us a hope and a future, like Jeremiah 29:11 says. But we just don't want him to tell us how to do it. We just don't want to obey him. And a lot of times it seems like these videos that I see once in a while of a little child who is walking away from the parent towards like an angry dog. And they walk up to the dog with confidence and pride and with no fear in the world until the dog turns on it. And then all of a sudden the child is freaking out and running towards mom and raising their hands up asking for help. This is how we treat God. We don't really want him around. We kind of push him in the background. We walk away from him with pride and arrogance, accepting that we can handle anything until we can't. And then we turn around and run towards God, asking for his help. What we need to see is that we should be trusting him all the time. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 12, it goes on to say that you will seek me and find me, and when you seek me with all your heart, I will be found by you, and I will bring you back from captivity. We need to see that God does care about us and that he will help us. We need to turn towards him so that we can build that relationship with him. But we got to remember that when these 70 days or whatever it turns out to be is over, we can't just turn our back on him again. We need to see that in the midst of God's beautiful promises, there are still trials to be faced. We need to also see that in the midst of trials, God has a lot of beautiful promises for us. And so when these days settle down and they draw to a conclusion and we start going back to normal and we're finally able to play basketball and give each other a high five without being paranoid, let's not waste this opportunity that we have today to connect with God in a different way. Either for the first time, connect with him through Jesus, through the first time, or to strengthen our resolve to obey him and to follow him daily, no matter what lies ahead. Hi guys, I also have another announcement I want to make. We are going to go ahead and move forward with our canned food drive through the missions ministry team. It's actually going to start tomorrow, March 25th, and carry through at least April 5th. And we're going to work it this way. It's for the Shawnee Community Services organization in Shawnee. They have been hit pretty hard because of the situation that we're in today. And so we would like to support them in that. We would encourage you that when you go out to get groceries, to buy a little extra, and you can drop that off at the church. Come to the church anytime during the week, between say 8:30 and 4 o'clock. You can drop that off at the church without even coming to talk to me. You don't even have to come to me at all. But just come to the main entrance, and over on the south side, you will see a button that has a handicap icon on it. Hit that button, the doors will open, and you can come in and lay the goods at a designated table and then exit the very same way. This will help you to serve people around you without violating any rules from the government as far as social separation. But we want to encourage you guys to be a help and support for our community. You can look at on the website, on the events tab, you can look at all the details of exactly what you need supply-wise, but also how to do the drop-off as well. Thanks.